We bow. If you would please stand, there is the incense offering within the booklet, that single sheet, and we will begin with that. And together we say, in gratitude, we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. On page 7 of the booklet, we will recite the refuge vows. Say, I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Sangha, a loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion, and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to live simple, worry, anxiety, light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. And turn the book over, and we will chant the Heart Sutra. And as is our tradition, we do the title at the beginning and the end. Maha Prajna Paramita Vridaya Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion from the deep practice of Prajna Paramita perceived the emptiness of all 5 skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, no old age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna paramita. Therefore, the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance, there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna paramita is the great Dharani, the radiant peerless mantra, the utmost supreme mantra, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna paramita. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisattva. The Maha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. Please. Good morning. Good morning. I'm on, yes? Okay. For anybody new here today, there's a camera right there which is transmitting this to Zoom and Facebook. If you don't want to be on camera, stay out of here. And that's why we have the mic. Not that my voice isn't loud enough, which it is, but so people on Facebook and Zoom can hear us. What is a dharani? A mantra? A mantra. Basically, in a very simple answer, is a collection of words one uses to help center oneself. Many times they're nonsensical words. They don't mean anything. Many times they are they're a phrase directed towards a Buddha or a Bodhisattva or a teacher. I was very resistant to chanting for years, and I've told you this before, until my teacher said, well, if you're resistant to something, check into it. So I started attending chantings, and I discovered it helps me center myself in a way I didn't realize was possible. And the last thing I'll say on the Heart Sutra today is the mantra itself. Gate, gate, para samgate, Bodhisattva in English. Gone, gone, gone beyond the beyond, awake. And that last word, our Sunday school teacher used to say, whoopee! It's an exclamation of joyful exclamation. I've seen it translated as well said or hallelujah even. Gone, gone. I am no longer enslaved to the three poisons. Gone beyond. I have freed myself. Gone beyond the beyond. I have entered the realm of Buddhahood, which I have not done any of that. But to me, at this point in my life, that's where I follow that mantra. You may have another interpretation, and that is absolutely wonderful. I'm going to read you a very, very short few lines that the Buddha once said to some of his students. I have taught the way without making any distinction between inner and outer teaching. For in respect of the truth, there must be no such thing as the closed fist of the teacher who hides some essential knowledge from the pupil. Secrecy is the mark of false doctrine. I read that because during the week, I had a meeting with some people far wiser than I. And one of the wise speakers mentioned that this temple is a place of refuge. Now, the word refuge, everybody has their own translation of that. And it is a refuge from what? Well, each one of us are here for a different reason, or maybe some of the same reasons. So I'm not going to intrude myself into why any of us come or any of us stay. But I like that phrase, a place of refuge. And it got me thinking because you remember a few weeks ago, I said, if there's any subject you would like me to speak on, make a note and drop it in the Dana box. We got some notes. And several of them wanted to know what we were. And so I thought maybe after hearing the phrase Place of Refuge, maybe I would say some small words on that. And I have my bullet points here, so I'm not going to drift too far, but I'm not going to promise anything. I promise nothing. Okay, first off, what is this place? It is a Dharma hall, a study hall, because that's what goes on in here. He is a teacher. You'll see all our statues. They have this mudra. This is the mudra of meditation. This is the mudra of teaching. Avalokiteshvara is doing it. Is Kuan Yin doing it? Or does she have the teaching mudra? So we're a teaching temple. We are a Mahayana temple. There are two, some people say three, main schools of Buddhism in the world. The Theravada, which means the way of the elders, which is Southern Buddhism, Kampuchea, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, that area, Vietnam, although Vietnam is unique. Then there is the Vajrayana, which is in Tibet and Mongolia. Then there is the Mahayana, which we are, which is in China, it's Northern, Korea, Japan. And Vietnam is a happy blend of Mahayana and Theravada. The word Mahayana, Maha means great. Maharaja, the great king. Yana means cart, wheel, or wagon, something like that. So it is a great cart. There is room for everybody in it. To help you understand the difference, in Theravada, The ideal is the arhat, someone who has freed themselves from the three poisons, who understands the noble truths, and who has entered nirvana or about to enter nirvana. In the Mahayana, the great vehicle, the ideal is not the arhat. The ideal is the bodhisattva. A bodhisattva is someone who has come up to a millimeter of stepping over into awakenedness, enlightenment, nirvana, Buddhahood, whatever phrase you want to use. But I'm going to stay part of Saha, part of the universe, part of Earth, so I can help other beings. That is the Mahayana ideal. And that is what these other people, other than the Buddha, up here are. Bodhisattvas, those who have chosen to stay to help. Now, you can believe that literally, or you can believe they are personifications of some great virtue or whatever, but they are representative of the greatness of the Mahayana and the fact that the Mahayana recognizes it is not me trying to find nirvana or freedom. It is us, all of us. And we are trying to get there together. Was that dramatic enough? Okay, I hope so. And what does the Mahayana teach? It teaches exactly what the Theravada and the Vajrayana teaches. The foundation of Buddhism is the Four Noble Truths. There is stress and anxiety. There is a cause for that stress and anxiety. There is freedom from that stress and anxiety. And there is a path of practice to help one experience or realize that freedom. Now, is that a cappuccino machine or is that a vacuum? Yeah, we have a coffee shop right there. Anyway, you see how focused I am, right? All right, the Four Noble Truths. There is stress and anxiety or dukkha or suffering, whatever word. There is a cause for it. There is a way out of it. And the way out of it is a specific path, and that is the Noble Eightfold Path. And when I first started my practice, when I first came across the Noble Eightfold Path, I saw, well, I got to do this. Then I can step to the next one. Then I can step to the next one. And that's not it at all. They're just listed this way. There's not linear, they're just listed for our ease of our comprehension, but they're all intertwined. And I will go through them. And if at any point you have a comment or a question, let me know. And I can get Will out here to run around with that mic again so the people on YouTube can hear what we're talking about. Anyway, the very first, let me preface a word here. When you see the Noble Truths, people are going to say correct, proper, or right. And all of those words work. Proper, I think, is the best way to translate the original word. But don't think of it as a moral issue. Think of it more like a cake. To bake is as much chemistry as anything else. You've got to have the right ingredients in the right proportions in the right temperature. If you don't, your cake is going to be other than wonderful. And so that is what that word, proper, right, whatever the virtue we're talking about in the Eightfold Path is. It is, my cake won't turn out, or if I am not aware of these and try to do my best to experience these, I'm hesitate to say this, but I may not turn out the best I can. I don't know what I mean, but it is a guide, and these are guides to help us be the best we can. And remember last week I said, if someone were to ask you, what is Buddhism? It is the Eightfold Path. What do Buddhists practice? We practice the Eightfold Path. What do you hope to achieve? My teacher says achieve. Anyway, we hope to achieve the Eightfold Path. It's everything right there. And the Eightfold Path is proper understanding or proper view. To know the Buddha's teaching, the Four Noble Truths, to know that, to understand the true reality of everything, that all things are interconnected, to understand the three marks of existence, which is also called the three Dharma seals. All things are impermanent. All things have no self. Remember the Heart Sutra. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Nothing exists independently. Everything is here because of some other thing or things, some other condition. And the last of those three marks is dukkha, stress, anxiety. And that probably comes about because things are impermanent, and I want things to be permanent, right? That's the first of the Eightfold Path. The second is proper thinking. Think about the very first line of the Dhammapada. In some translations, it comes out as, we are what we think. In some translations, it is, thought precedes all our actions. And this is important because thinking leads to our words and our actions. So be aware of what is going on in here. The third step in that path is proper, correct speech. I'm not going to lie unless, and I always have to say that because whenever we have a class, we talk about, there's always the Jewish kids hiding from the Nazis. You know, if a Nazi came to your door, do you have Jewish kids hiding here? Well, no, I don't. So it's a very simplistic way, but it's an important lesson. There may be a time when I tell a lie, but even then, even if it's a good reason, there are going to be consequences to it. But for most of us and most of the time, lies are not wholesome. But there's something else in speech. We have to remember not to use the truth to hurt. The truth can hurt. The Buddha said our tongue can be more dangerous than a double-edged axe. And equally important in proper speech, telling the truth, being kind, being wise, is listening. Have you ever been speaking to somebody who halfway through your sentence, they interrupt you and finish your sentence? Or you're talking to them in there, or they're on their cell phone, or they're just not listening to you. That's rude to you, and that's rude to them. And something I learned a long time ago is when somebody's speaking to me, it's not my job to sit there with a piece of paper and take down notes so that I can come back and hit them at every point. If I want to have a true conversation with a human being, I speak and I listen equally. I want them to hear my words, and they want me to hear my words. So polite, mature speech is speaking correctly and listening correctly. There is proper action. And we have in Buddhism to guide us the 5 precepts: to respect and protect life, to respect and protect the property of others, to respect and protect sexual boundaries, to respect and protect language, and to respect and protect my mind and my body, your mind and your body. And how each one of us allows those precepts to guide our life is up to each one of us. And for 4 or 5 years here, I was precept master. And one of the greatest joys I had was once a week, we would sit down and talk about a particular precept. And people would bring into me things I had never thought of, but It really helps. So sometime when you're alone or with a friend, speak about what is proper, or what is the protection and respect of life. What is the respect and protection of sexual boundaries? What is respect and protection of your body and mind? And when you share like that, you get some things that, oh, I never thought of that. And it's very helpful. The next step on the Eightfold Path is proper livelihood. Traditionally, it has been forbidden, I guess that's a good word, for a Buddhist to sell or collect slaves, or to own a slave, but that's not a livelihood, but selling slaves is a livelihood. Traditionally, it has been forbidden for a Buddhist to sell poisons. And I'm not talking about arsenic, I'm talking about weed killer, things like that, rat killer. It has been traditionally forbidden for a Buddhist to manufacture and sell drugs or alcohol. It has been traditionally forbidden for a Buddhist to raise animals for meat. Now, all of those, there may be some room, and we each live the practice as we understand it and as we can. Tibet, high in the mountains, very little grows. Grasses, herbs, sedges. So what grows well are yaks and sheep and goats. And so Tibetans live mainly on a diet of yak butter, yak milk, goat, and sheep meat, because they're in a place where they can't grow corn or potatoes or melons. I'm not judging one way or the other. We each have to follow that. We each have to let the precept guide us as best we can at the best of our understanding at the time. There is proper effort. I'll bet you, close to 300 Buddhist books. They don't mean a thing. If all I do is read them and I can recite out of them. It is, what am I doing with that knowledge? What am I doing with everything I have learned, everything people have taught me? That is effort. I've got to do something other than just carry the words with me. I've got to make an effort. One of the greatest tools the Buddha ever gave, and I have said this every Sunday, and I'm going to say it probably every Sunday from now on, is meditation. In meditation, we learn to observe us, and that can help us live a wholesome life, unharmful to others. Proper mindfulness, to be aware of my words, of my actions, of my thoughts. Those are the three things that show the world, that I present myself to the world through, are my thoughts, my words, my actions. We love you. Proper concentration is maintaining evenness and equanimity. Something goes wrong, something goes right. I'm calm. Not really, but that's the practice. I spoke about the three marks of impermanence, no self, and dukkha, but there's one more thing I want to talk about real quick, and that is the Four Immeasurables, because those are very important. The Four Immeasurables are a practice. If I can guide my life by these four immeasurables, then the Eightfold Path has fallen into place. And they are loving kindness. You know from the Bible, the story of the Good Samaritan, that's an act of loving kindness. This man helped somebody who was not of his race, not of his religion. He still helped him. Loving kindness. Someone at work gets a promotion you think you should have had. You're happy for him. Oh, yeah. But that's the practice. Your worst enemy in the world is hurt. Do you heal them? Do you help them? Or do you let them lay there and suffer? The practice calls us to show loving kindness. It is the civilized way to be. And it is found, compassion and wisdom are both foundational to the practice. Compassion and wisdom found together. Compassion is the second of the four immeasurables. Compassion, like the word companion, means to be with. If I'm in a hospital bed, or if you're in a hospital bed, I don't want your pity. Pity is me up here and you're down here. Oh, it's so bad, but I'm healthy, but it's so bad. Compassion is, I know what it's like to be in that bed. I've been in that bed. Compassion is, I am not pitying you. I am sharing your hurt. I am sharing your pain. I understand it. And the last of the four immeasurables is equanimity. Simply put, it means evenness of mind. And as I said a few minutes ago, if I go bankrupt or if I win $10 billion on the lottery, am I still here, calm in the center? Or am I so excited I can hardly breathe? Or am I so depressed I can hardly breathe? That fourth immeasurable asks us to, and those are extremes, but you get the picture, to not allow emotion to guide us, to allow fact to guide us. I was once a manager at a local company, and I made a friend of mine a supervisor, which was the greatest mistake I ever did. But I let my affection for this person get in the way. And you can't make certain judgments based on emotion. They have to be based on reality. It's important that emotion is there, but that calmness of equanimity is a great, great guide. That is basically a very thin veneer of the Buddhist teaching and what we teach here in the temple. But there's another aspect of this temple that I want to share with you so that you understand completely. The temple is made up of the Sangha. That's all of us, and that's all of you, and it is your temple. But the lights have to work. The heat has to work. The air conditioner has to work. The toilets have to work. The rent has to be paid. Funds have to be raised. And for that, we have a board of directors. They are the administrators of the temple. Then we have the other aspect of the temple, the teaching part. And that is the teachers. I am the old man here. I am the oldest ordained. I was ordained first. And in Buddhism, things are done by seniority. The Buddha did that right from the beginning. There's a story of some noblemen being ordained and their barber being ordained. And they insisted that the barber be ordained first so that they would remember that they are now all equal. Because within the Buddhist system, seniority does matter. So now these noblemen were just a few moments behind the barber. And that was good for their ego, for their understanding. And so I am the senior teacher only because I'm the oldest man here as a teacher. We have other teachers, and we form the Dharma Council. And so between the two of us, the board of directors who pays the bills, paints the building, helps organize cleanings, and the teachers who sit here yak all day or share the teaching, that is what is the structure of this temple. And if you want to talk to a board member, 1, 2, is that all we have here? Okay. A teacher, I'm one. Here's one in the corner. Anybody else? No other teachers. We have a crowd somewhere online, I think, but anyway. That is the basis of the temple. We have board of directors, we have our Dharma Council. And does anybody have a comment or question before we go into meditation? You have 2 people here. Oh,
If I could just take you back to the difference between Theravada and Mahayana.
yeah.
So I've been asked this question several times, and I don't have an abbreviated version of the difference. So at the 4th of July picnic, when someone asks me that question again, I'd like to be able to be concise.
Okay, very, very simple. I may get some comments on Facebook from this, but very simple. In the Theravada, I am working for my enlightenment. In the Mahayana, we are working for our enlightenment. That doesn't mean Theravadans aren't wanting to help other people, but that is, like I said, the ideal is for me to become an arhat, or for me to reach that stage of Bodhisattva-hood where I can help others. Very simple, me, us. Anybody have a comment on that? I don't want to offend anybody. Okay, you have down here. Did that take care of it, Alan? Okay.
Just to emphasize,
Yeah.
the 3rd leg of the temple is the Sangha. We would not exist without participation from each one of you.
Yeah.
So it's the
absolutely.
board, the Dharma Council, and all of you.
Yeah, and the Sangha makes up. The board is made up of members of the Sangha, and the teachers are made up of members of the Sangha. And I would have nothing to do on Sundays if it wasn't for the Sangha. Anybody else? Oh.
Could you explain the 3 poisons for those who don't know?
Did I not? Okay, I apologize. The Buddha said that, we don't use the word sin in Buddhism. We use the word unwholesome. A sin is against another being. Unwholesome is against me and you all. The Buddha said if I perform an unwholesome act, if I take the time to examine it and look at its genesis, its beginning, I will find that it is born out of one of 3 things. And he called these the 3 poisons. And they are greed or desire. I want, I don't want, I don't want. Greed is 2 ways. Anger or hatred. That's the second poison. And either word works. And we all know what anger or hatred can do, what it can cause people to do. And the 3rd poison is ignorance or delusion. Now, ignorance does not mean that you're stupid. It means, or that I'm stupid. It means I don't have the proper information. It is ignorant to think you make a banana cream pie with onion. I can fix that by finding a recipe. Now, there's also delusion in there. It can be translated as ignorance and delusion, or delusion. I see ignorance as having the wrong or no information, and delusion as having some information but not understanding it correctly. But they are both there. So it's very simply greed, anger, ignorance. And the next time anybody does an unwholesome act, sit down and see if you can find the seed of that, where it came from. And it will be one of those or a combination. All right? Anything else?
Hi, my name is.
Your mask down.
I'm loud enough.
Okay.
Okay then. I just want to adding some comments. So about Theravada and Mahayana,
Thank you.
because I've been practice Theravada. I'm from Indonesia. So what Hangsa said that about I, like Mahayana we. So it doesn't mean I is only focusing in I.
Yeah.
So in many sutra or sutta, it's mentioned we started to I, may I be happy. And then after that, may you be happy. Because how do we want to be happy? Or how do we want people happy? Or how do we want people get enlightenment if we don't start it from ourselves? So in Theravada Sangha, yeah, there is a time the monks giving a service like what Hangsa did, and there is also a month, like 3 months during the rain season, like because like in some area no winter, so we call it rain season. Usually during July to October, that's the time the monk has to be take care themselves. Like they have to learn, they have to study. They can go to the temple, they can do the service, but they have to go back maximum 7 days. Why? Because no matter how much we care to others, we have to care to ourselves. In so many sutra, I found it like started from I. Like for example, in the airplane, when the oxygen's low, take care of yourself before you put to your children, even to your children.
Yes.
Same like a doctor, the Buddha like a doctor. So the doctor also giving care, but if the doctor not study, how do the doctor catch up the technology to help the patient? So that is mean focusing with ourselves, we study, but we share and we invite other, we encourage other to get enlightenment. But we cannot make people get enlightenment if they don't want to study, they don't want to do it. So that's the differences maybe from my explanation. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, for any of you who are interested, there's a sutra called the Metta, M-E-T-T-A, and the founder of the group you go to, Karen Gibson, she for years had a very difficult time with the very first line of that sutra. May I be happy, because it sounded selfish to her. But it is exactly like you say. It's like that oxygen on the airplane. If that falls down, you put it on you first, because you can't help somebody else if you're passing out. So we have to work for us before we can help anybody else. And I'm sorry, is Karen still part of the group? The Wither Tree? Okay. Meditation? All right. Prepare yourselves. We bow. Announcements. Oh, I think I have announcements.
For those relatively new to the temple, wanted to just let you know there's a lending library downstairs and a Buddha boutique, aptly named, singing bowls, malas. So we'll be downstairs.
We did have one question from the chat, Hung Soo. Well, actually, more of a comment. This is from Robert. He said, "Good morning, all. Today we ask for healing to Nathan's father, Arveta, as he recovers from surgery at Cleveland Clinic. Hopefully, he can bring him home tomorrow. Also, peaceful transitions to my nephew, Alex Alteri, as he passes in the very near future from this life to the next. Much love to them both."
Thank you. Come on up here. Let the world see Kate.
Good morning, Sangha. My name is Kate, and my Dharma name is Ambo. As you know, this temple is a donation-only temple. That's how we operate, and that's in keeping with our practice of generosity or dana. And dana is giving and receiving, which is central to Buddhist practice. This week, we concluded our pledge drive. And thanks to all of your new, renewed, and increased pledges, we have reached 49% of our goal. And this, along with existing contributions, we have reached our goal of $2,000 to meet monthly expenses. So we're covered. So that's really good news. Thanks to all of you. We will continue to share the Dharma in this community and beyond. Deep bows to all of you.
The other announcements, we have a Dharma discussion group that meets here Thursday mornings, 9:30 to 10 of meditation, 10 on, we have a discussion based on whatever book we're reading. We are doing once a month around on or around the new moon. We are doing a Lojan practice, which is a mind training for compassion. And if you are, is there information on the website on Lojan? And they have all the dates. So it's LOJONG. If you're interested in practicing, are they all going to be on Zoom? There are going to be some here. Yeah. Because the first one is only Zoom because the person who was doing it has COVID. But I would think most of them would be here in person. All right. The board of directors meets the second Tuesday of each month, and you're allowed to come and observe if you want. We have Buddhist recovery programs here. So if you or anybody you know are struggling with some form of addiction, which it could be sugar, comic books, I don't care. Check that out on our website. It'll have the dates. I think that's it. Anybody else with anything? Then if we will turn to page what? 9. We can do our closing gathas. And together we say, for all unskillful action ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the road of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. And please turn to each other. This way, this way, that. And we will bow to one another. Please keep warm and remember spring is just, 5 weeks away? Be warm. Thank you all.